Ruckus Avenue Radio.
Hi guys, it's Sunny and Shay with our podcast Unfiltered on Ruckus Avenue Radio, and I've got to say we are overly hyped, overly excited. Sunny and I are huge fans for very different reasons, it must be said.
Generationally.
She's crossed over in many different ways. I mean, for so many of us, you know, you'll know her, of course, as much loved American actress in the UK. We saw her like family, it must be said. I was a huge fan from My Wife and Kids. Most recently, of course, you've got Martin the Reunion. We're going to talk about her recent new show, Uncoupled. It's great to have you with us in the studio, Tisha Campbell. Thank you. Tisha,
sound effects, man.
I know. Add those in, team.
Exactly.
Tisha, you know, some people use this word a lot, and I think it is overused. But I really do believe in your case, it's real. You are very much a legend, as Sunny just said. Intergenerationally, so many different generations know you, love you. What is it about acting that you just love it so much? Because you've been doing this throughout your career, and even today, you are just as hot as you were 25 years ago.
No, it's true, though.
No, but it's true. Come on.
Thank you. Shoot, I should take y'all home.
We're happily will
Okay,
come.
well, you know what? To answer your question, you know, I just realized because I did the math and I was stuck on this other number, but I've been acting for 5 decades.
Wow.
Yeah,
My
it's pretty
goodness.
crazy. Or in the business for 5 decades.
Yeah.
And I went into this business not for fame or for money for myself. It kind of fell upon me because I grew up really, really poor.
Okay.
And so I knew that I could help my family. Specifically, when I was 5 years old, I was a very conscious kid. I was conscious of all of the government cheese sandwiches and the syrup sandwiches that we were forced to eat because we didn't have much money, sometimes not electricity, and we were on welfare here in the States. But I was conscious of how poor we were back then, and even at 5 years old. And at 5, I wanted my mom to enter me into a singing contest for the second prize was a color television because we didn't have one that worked.
Yeah. Okay.
So I finally convinced her, and I was like one of only 2 child groups in the entire thing, but I didn't win the color television. I won the first prize, which was a car.
Wow.
And I was mad.
Of course you are. I want the TV.
The man put the keys in my hand, and I threw them down for 2 reasons. Why? Because I'm 5. And then 2, the second reason was because I saw my brother eating my Cheetos. So I went to go kill him. And then the guy grabs me back and puts the keys back in my hand and says, "You just won a car." And I'm looking down. I see my mother crying. And I see my father jumping up and down. I was like, oh.
This is huge.
I can help people. And so I always went into this business knowing that, you know, it was for others. You know, and then I often talk about, you know, the difference between a celebrity and an actor. Or sorry, let me take that back. A celebrity and an artist.
Right.
Because there's a difference. And I think artists understand that they're here to serve others.
Right.
You know, and
celebrities are they to serve themselves?
To a certain extent. But you know what? Yes. They may believe that they're here to be served.
Right.
But one has to have patience with people who are celebrities, and they will eventually learn the lesson. Some way, shape, or form. Hopefully not too bad of a lesson, but you know, they will get the idea that, you know, we're here to serve others. We're here to change mindsets. We're here to entertain. We're here to remind you of the past or whatever it is. But as an artist, you know, you're here to serve others, and it's been my honor to serve other people for the last 5 decades. So
when you look at, you know, those beginning days, and I'm sure I've heard interviews of you talk about these days, but I want to take it to a third point: the family that you were serving, and then the other side of this persona that we saw on the screens and on in the music. How was family supporting you at that time? Because the family needs to support. Oh my gosh! Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, you see this amazing individual like seems so life, and then it draws you in.
No, let me tell you something about my family.
Go on.
First of all, they still had me washing dishes and, cleaning my brother's nasty laundry and putting out the rubbish in the trash.
Yeah.
So
you may be Tisha the star outside
home.
They
didn't care about all of that. They did not care. And I still have, I'm very, very close. Like there's like 25 cousins that I have because my mom had a lot of brothers and sisters.
Beautiful.
And so we're all still very close and they just treat me like Tisha. They immediately start, cracking on me and making jokes about me. And I just feel at home. So, family has always grounded me.
Yeah.
And it's always been important to me, even as an adult, when I decided to have a family of my own. That took precedent over my career. So I didn't travel a lot. For my career, I only took jobs that kept me in the area of, so I could be the best wife and the best mother that I could possibly be. And I kept my kids away from it too.
And that was the next thing, because you've seen this industry from so many different facets.
Yeah.
We've heard the stories.
Also, before internet and after the internet as well. I mean,
Absolutely.
that.
I talk to these guys. I mean, I tried to educate them on, on some music, like, tubular bells. Like, what's tubular bells? Like, come on, bruv. Because I'm Generation X. I'm Generation X, right? So
I'm a Gen X.
Yeah, no, that's why I love you so much. Finally, I've got someone I can talk to.
Sorry.
It's fine. I'm a millennial. It's cool.
When you look at that difference, and through Generation X, we've seen the best of technology and the best of entertainment, the worst of it.
Yes.
But then also how the industry grew and saw this is going to be the gold standard. But then something new comes along and says, no, it isn't.
Yeah.
Here's another way of doing stuff.
Yes.
So how did you adapt? Because you've done this 5 decades.
You are someone who's so versatile.
Yeah.
Like, you really have.
Yeah.
Well, what I've known since I was a young girl, being in, I grew up doing mostly theater.
Right.
And musicals. And so you're only as good as your last job, and there's always an understudy waiting to take your spot, and there's always somebody bigger and better than you, so you have to recreate yourself. Yeah. And so I took that from the theater and understanding that, and I took that and used it throughout my entire career. So recreating yourself is something that's really, really important. Embracing the changes instead of going against the grain.
Right.
Change can be hard.
It can be hard,
easy.
Especially when you're used to it being a certain way. I mean, I was in the Screen Actors Guild when it only cost $500 to join. Now it's like 5,000.
Yeah, thousands,
like
baby.
Thousands.
Yeah. And the contributions.
Right. I'm not sure how much it costs now, but back in the 70s, it cost that much. So you just have to go. My point is, you have to go with the instead of going against the grain, you go with it.
And when you look at that grain, right, and we've seen the conversation change. We've talked about diversity and so much, and then that word itself now is like turned into this sort of this word that nobody wants to use, but then it is all about representation, like Shay said.
No, it is, because let me just say,
go.
And you guys could attest to this as well. Like when I was growing up, there was only one little African-American girl on television, and that was Kim Fields in The Facts of Life.
Yes.
And then that show ended, and then I came along in a show nobody knows, okay? It was only on for 2 seasons, but then I was the only little girl of my age that was represented. That's why the new show that I'm in, Uncoupled is so important, because representation really does matter. When you're not seeing yourself, in people
like
of
you
color
don't matter.
in general. You don't see yourselves, then it feels like you don't matter.
So when you see one of the most successful films, I guess, of my generation, right? It is, and it came from the black culture and the community, and it was House Party, and it crossed the Atlantic. It got there, and
it was in the UK too, in Europe,
and it was
as
just
much
like
as
around the world, and it was this amazing film, and we were like, is this really what happened? This is content that we can. Oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And
well, it was showing us in a different light instead of
only.
We're not just one thing. None of us are, right? None of our people are. You got, at the time, I think there were a lot of movies that depicted, the inner city gangs and stuff like that. But then there's and that is real, right? But there's this other side as well. So we were able to represent, and create that balance. And I think that's what people really. And then, of course, it's just hip hop. Hip hop, it's like what music is, a universal language, and people were able to embrace hip hop, which is, you know.
And look at that now. That is the mainstream
culture.
Now.
Yes,
it is. You're absolutely right. It's mainstream, but I think like when I think of Tisha Campbell, you know, for me, and especially I think in Europe, and you will absolutely, I'm sure, feel this. My Wife and Kids was really
was
the one.
Yeah,
I watched it daily. Then I watched the repeats. You know, but it was so unique in the sense that, yes, as you've just said, representation is important, but it kind of for us showed a side of
family,
Black family that actually, to be honest, even in the UK, we don't get to see, you know, on mainstream TV. Yes. And do you still find that you get people like me constantly saying that to you? And do you tire of it, or do you enjoy it?
No. I never tire of anything. I don't, because I understand, like, the fact that I was lucky enough and blessed enough to be a part of some amazing projects, not purposefully so, because honestly, I was just trying to feed my family. Right. You know what I mean? But it just so happens that my career led me and connected me to some really amazing projects that, you know, transcended race, that transcended age, that, you know, like the Martin Show is still on.
Absolutely.
And it's you know, it's shocking to all of us.
Yeah.
You know, I remember going through customs in Italy, and I was being held up, and the guy just kept looking at his computer and talking to me, and he was like, "Hold on, is this you?"
I love it. Yeah, I just Googled you.
And I just started laughing, and I was like, "That's why you got me here this long." And he just started laughing. He was like, "You make me laugh," or you know, I just kind of connected to Mabel Kazar. I think that's how you say her, or it might be Caesar. But she does my voice in Portuguese.
Okay,
For My Wife and Kids,
like
and for
that.
Uncoupled.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and in France, I don't know her name, but
Okay.
whoever these two are, they're amazing. Whoever you get is the person who does your voice for the rest of your life.
Wow. Yeah, nice.
So if you don't work, you better get yourself together, because you got other people that's, you know.
Lovely.
But whoever does my French voice and Mabel, they are so good. They get all of my inflections.
Wow.
And sometimes I could speak really, really quickly.
Yeah.
But they're right on it. They get every and it's just really nice to see.
Ruckus Avenue Radio.
So uncoupling is like, you know, uncoupled. Sorry,
Yes.
is the, you know, again, taking on family, taking on this different.
It's more
dynamic.
modern day family, right?
So I guess with that writing, how much, because you are someone who's testament to being the mum and testament to being the wife and all of that lovely stuff, done it really well. How much do you now take a step in and say, look, I want my character to go this way? Do you have that freedom now?
We always
sort of like
do.
shaping?
I was really, again, blessed enough to be with some incredible people who, and when you're doing sitcoms, you help them establish the character, but then they let you kind of, you know,
play with
it, grow, and you know, it's Martin and Damon Wayans are the best at what they do.
Wow.
And so they were encouraging me to ad-lib or do whatever I needed to do to make
I don't know if you've heard of Only Fools and Horses, one of the most popular sitcoms in the United Kingdom.
Okay.
The guy who wrote that, he would write down everything that he wants the actors to do and the line, and he goes, do it, trust me. Just do what I'm telling you to do. Don't ad-lib, just stick to the line.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even today.
But it's brilliant, right? But
even
okay, saying
they
that,
weren't allowed to change
with
it.
that said,
Go on.
that's how Uncoupled is.
Okay, because I was
Come on then,
That's exactly how it, because
such a
first of
witty
all,
comedy.
you gotta go. There's Darren Star, who created Sex and the City.
Exactly.
He created Melrose Place. He created Emily in Paris.
Right.
And then there's Jeffrey Richman, who was the executive producer of Modern Family. Wow. And when I tell you, you have to stick to every word. But at first I was like, oh, it felt like there was a lot of pressure to that, especially when they're writing these long soliloquies and chits. And you go,
and you gotta
these monologues forever. You're like, oh God, if I miss a and replace a to a the, I just, you know, it screws you up. But honestly, when you see the finished product. You have to trust the rhythm and the tone in which they write.
Right.
It is so brilliant. And it took me into another place as an actor.
Yes.
So I'm very, very happy to work in this. It's hard.
In this margin.
I was going to say,
the margins are hard, but they are
rewarding. Yeah.
Because they can write their asses off.
So here's the thing: when you were cast for that role, they must have thought, right, we're writing this.
Tisha.
She's the person. She's the only one.
Tisha,
you know what? That's what they said. They said to me. But no, we met about it, and we were just talking about where they wanted to take the role and where they wanted to go with this, and me being uncoupled myself, I could relate to this. And that's the wonderful thing about Uncoupled is that it is a storyline. Yes, it is set up with a gay man who was dumped after a 17-year relationship. But everything that this man went through, I went through.
Wow.
You go through the 5 stages of grief and everything. But God, joy comes in the morning, you guys. Joy comes in the morning. There's so much joy right now that I feel in my life. But you have to go through. I think everybody can relate to heartbreak. And that's what was so endearing, other than me being able to work with Neil Patrick Harris.
Oh, yes.
All these other amazing award-winning Tony hosting ass artists. They're
but I'm sure they felt the same about you, Tisha.
You know what? I appreciate it, but we were all there for the same right reason.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a rarity when you have everybody there for the same reason, right? Meaning, we talked about it earlier where there's, you want to someone who goes into the business as an artist first.
Yes.
Everybody gets in and everybody's like that on this show. They're just
so brilliant.
Amazing artists.
Do you find though, and I know there's been so many articles and you've been really open and honest about, kind of the huge life change. You just said, being uncoupled. Do you find people are coming up to you, talking to you because they resonate with the show, with what happens with Neil and with your character? And then obviously the fact that you're doing interviews, you're really honest around, as you just say, everyone will go through some kind of heartbreak.
Absolutely.
It doesn't always have to be a relationship in terms of a marriage. It can be, with family, with friends, with loss.
Yes.
Do you find people are doing that right now with you on social media or in person when they see you?
To talk to me?
Yeah.
People pretty much talk to me anyway.
You're like,
I'm a freaking
like Tisha, come in, let me tell you.
and so people assume I'm like their family member.
Yes,
because
of course.
It's different than, doing a movie and doing television because I'm in their house all the time.
Yeah.
And so people tend to do that.
Yeah.
Because when you walked in, I was like, oh my God, she's here. And I was so excited.
Did you see? He was like fangirling.
And the thing is, she was like, yeah, she's here, right? I said, no, she's from House Party, mate.
Yeah.
You don't understand.
I've seen her back in the day.
That's so cool.
There's that one thing that takes you into a culture or into...
Like, it takes you to your past and makes you reconnect to your childhood.
That's it.
So I do understand the importance and what we can bring. But I also think that it puts a lot of pressure. Not that I feel that right now, but I think that it could do a disservice to people who are new to this.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Meaning,
I got you.
They get a lot of attention really fast and don't know what to do with it.
That's
but just on that point, because there'll be a song. I might introduce you to Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan today, right? And you'll be like, oh, that was a day I discovered Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan.
Yeah.
House Party was when I discovered hip hop,
Yes.
culture from the black community and all of that, and then it was you guys that brought that into my life, and that's it. I was hooked.
A young kid in London, a young South Asian brown kid in London.
So who's Public Enemy one? Who's Dr. Dre? What is this whole thing? NWA. It was that one film that took me into that culture, and that's why it's so important to me. And then you can, and some people it might be an album, it might be something.
Yeah.
But it was your film, and and obviously I fancied you because you look amazing. And I was like, wow, this is just so cool. And so when you then went on to the sitcoms and everything else and all that kind of stuff, I went with you because I was like, no, you can't put her as a mum. How are you putting with her?
That's funny. My kids say the same thing. They refuse to watch Wife and Kids because, you yell at those kids like you yell at us. And I'm like, Good. I'm glad you know it.
Yeah, exactly.
And my other one, my youngest, my 13-year-old, still calls me Gina to this
No
day.
way.
I just
sure you get that all
answer
the time.
because I just get tired. And I just answer, Gina, are you gonna make me something to eat?
Yeah.
You gonna make me late for school? And I go,
Funny.
yeah, okay.
But do you
funny.
find, like, we're talking about, you've got celebrities now, and you've got artists, as you've already defined those two, but there is a third category now, which is very much internet famous.
Yes.
And you, I'm sure more than anyone, are going to see those people who rock up to LA,
Yes.
the internet famous guys, and they're like, well, we've done it. We've done it ourselves. And what is your perspective on that?
Thank you for asking me that, because I think it also goes along with reality stars
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
And I just said something about this, because I just think if there is an opportunity for you to make your life better, why not?
Right.
Cool.
Okay.
Like, I don't mind an influencer or a reality star or whatever it is. Some people just cannot be denied.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
You
You don't begrudge them
Yeah.
that.
You
Yeah,
cannot
yeah,
be denied. However, your entrance into how you can affect people
Yeah.
Yeah.
happens. It doesn't matter. Like, there are certain people you cannot deny. Like my friend Tammy Roman. She's really she's acting her behind off. Cardi B.
Yeah. I mean, look at where Cardi B started,
Yeah.
and where she is now. as
Yes,
a,
And also, you also
respected
had a
rapper,
lady,
former reality
Pink.
star.
Her name was Pink in LA, who literally had billboards before the internet, and
Right.
she was just
Yeah.
famous for being on billboards.
Right.
She was the
God,
first.
Angeline.
Angeline.
Yeah, so she was just famous for just being famous.
She did it before social media,
before
right?
She had to
Or the
spend money on her.
Kardashians.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she had to spend money on herself.
or
to get the
herself.
love. Yeah.
But that's marketing, baby.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you got
But
to
so
think
you're
of it.
fine with that, because like sometimes we will interview, and we're not going to
get
name
mad.
names. They get
Yeah.
Man, let me tell you, they literally like it's almost like how dare they think they're on the level
And the
as
other
me.
thing they get upset about
Yeah.
is this is cheap content. Spend that money on projects like what you're a part
Yeah.
of,
Yeah.
and let's develop stuff. Why you got these people and just it's like cheap TV, right? It's like fast food. as opposed
I
to-
understand
Yeah.
what they mean, and I understand how it could be frustrating.
Yeah.
There was a time, I believe it was the 90s. No, the early 2000s, where they weren't really hiring African Americans for movies and television. They were mostly hiring musicians.
Okay.
Okay.
But if they didn't, we wouldn't have a Queen Latifah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
have LL Cool J,
Tyrese.
Tyrese.
Yeah,
we wouldn't have
yeah.
these people
Right.
Yeah.
who are amazing artists. I just think that, maybe it's because I grew up in Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I grew up poor, and you find your
understand the hustle.
opportunities, and it's about your grind and your hustle.
Yeah.
I can't
You like a hustle.
knock anyone.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Yeah, you love the
and
hustle.
I've heard
Yeah.
horror stories of people getting a reality star to their home and then cussing them out and letting them know that you're taking my jobs. And I've heard those kind of
goodness.
I've heard those
That's
kind
horrible.
of stories, and somebody else is just trying to feed their family.
I love the fact that you got to hustle, and if it wasn't for the
Here's
hustle,
what it is, though.
Yeah.
Like,
Go on.
like with me, Tashina, Arnold, Regina King, Vivica, all of us, we all grew up in an era where, how do I put it? What's for you is for you.
Yeah.
And we don't get in the way. Like, even with Tashina Arnold and
Yes.
I, who was in, people who know her from Pam as in The Martin Show,
Yeah,
or
The Martin Show,
she's
yeah.
in The New Neighborhood with Cedric the Entertainer right now. So we grew up in this business together since we were 11 and 12 years old.
Right.
Right? And so when I would hear of an audition, or she would hear of an audition, we call the other one, yo, you heard?
I love that.
And she would
Supporting
go,
each other.
nah, or I would go, no. And she'd go, all right, have your agent, here's the information. I'm sending you all my information.
amazing.
Or, yo, just roll with me and we'll
let's
just
go.
bum rush it.
Yeah,
And
come on.
you can't do that anymore,
Love
people.
that.
Don't
No.
do that.
Yeah,
Don't
no.
follow my lead. But we
Yeah.
would just write the other agent's name, like her agent.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
And we would just bum rush it, because for us it was like, if I don't get it, I want my girl
My
to
girl
get
to
it.
get it,
And
yes.
vice
That's
versa.
that's how me and Shay are.
Yeah.
We want to support.
Yeah.
You
If
want
you're
them
doing
to
well,
win.
I'm doing
I'm
well.
doing well.
But
Exactly.
that's how I feel about things in general.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, if you're doing well and you're doing, you're
Yeah.
you're growing in this business, and you may have 15 minutes, you've done something with that 15 minutes, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Ruckus Avenue Radio.
So when you look at the business itself, and there's another side to business as opposed
The
to
business side.
the business side, right?
Yeah.
Now there's always this conversation. We have it in the United Kingdom. People of color are underpaid and undervalued.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we've seen
Or they're the token.
Or they're the token,
Or they're the
whatever
token.
they're.
They're the token.
Absolutely.
So how do you know the women voices and the black women's voices in this industry, which you have very much been part of, and you've been very vocal about your experiences in certain areas, right? Overcome and then make it easier to people to understand that this hustle had its obstacles. Sometimes
Yes, it
even
does.
from our communities.
Absolutely.
That also made it hard. You think it was the white man? It was just not the white man. It was the business.
Yes. Well,
That did it.
first of all, my grandmother used to tell me you have to be extraordinary in order to be considered average just because of the color of your skin.
Right.
So you must always be extraordinary.
Yes.
Okay. So I always knew that. I always had that in my back pocket. But then there was also, I am not good with no's.
Yeah, I like that.
I've never been good with no's. I will
Okay.
only hear you the third time.
Love that. So don't take no for an answer.
Maybe.
But and then
Yeah.
even if you do, for me, I will try to kick a door down, go around an obstacle.
Yeah.
I will jump over, go under. It doesn't matter. Like I don't let the no's, and there are plenty of them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
There's
man.
lots of
We've all been
Yeah,
there. We've all been there.
yeah, we've all been there. And so and then I'll hear the no. But I just fight through all of that.
Yeah.
As it pertains to an African American woman, this is what we've always had to do. This is nothing
Yeah,
new.
it's true.
Even when there was COVID isolation,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't freak out. It was now, how am I going to recreate myself? I'm watching, I'm listening. I even did a play online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we have to figure out what the new changes are going to be.
Brilliant.
I think also it helps that my father taught me chess at 3 years old. My dad is
Nice.
a chess master.
Okay.
And
Nice.
so he's always
Strategy.
taught children. Yes. So I always think 2 steps ahead. Always think 2 steps ahead.
Yeah.
And so that's just been who I am as a person, but it really helped me elongate my career.
Career,
Because
massively.
what most people don't really realize is an actor's career lifespan is usually only about 5 years.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And if you think of like football or something like that, they might have
10.
maybe
With their health.
If they're
With
lucky.
their health.
If
Yeah,
they're
if
lucky.
they're
Yeah, if they
lucky.
don't get mashed up.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, if they don't get mashed up, maybe. Or a singer might have a sophomore song, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's like 2 years, 3 years.
Especially now.
Especially
if
now
if
because
were
there's
in
no
the-
more albums.
There you go.
Yeah.
Like, if you're Madonna, you can live off your back catalogue,
Yeah,
right? You know what I mean?
exactly.
So, but now,
Or you
But
can
that's the
have
thing.
beautiful Beyonce remix it and then
Yeah, yeah.
happy days.
But
Yeah.
I always kept that in mind too because I have that knowledge.
yeah.
Do you want to wait?
No, we
No,
can.
no, no,
I
no.
think just let them know. Put it
Yeah.
down
No, I think we're fine. There's a little bit of
Yeah.
background noise going on, so we apologize
Okay,
for that.
Sorry about
Let's
that.
go,
That's
'cause
okay.
we're in the flow.
Sorry.
It's fine.
No. I was saying that, I always kept that in the back of my mind as
Yeah.
well. So my hustle has always been,
I'm so intrigued because, like Sunny Officer. So, example, like as you know, we're BBC broadcasters. We've been in the UK industry for 12 years,
Yeah.
so
Yes.
over a decade. So, but even like I believe in this term, complacency is your worst enemy.
Oh my gosh.
Right? But like often Sunny will be like, Shay, we've pitched this. What have they said? Like you just said earlier, we always get no's. And I'll be like, but I send an email. And then, and I know he was already looking at me like, yeah. And in my mind, I'm like, well, I've done my bit. And he's like, yeah,
That's not
but that's
your
not,
bit. That's not
an
your
email
bit.
is not enough, right?
Yeah.
So for you, has
If
it
you don't
always
get
been
that
in you?
yes or a reason,
The constant chase.
then I need to know. Right. Because it's
what
always...
can I do better? How can I
Yeah.
go around?
No, but the
What-
thing is,
what
like
do I do?
yourself, right? You go in. I'm a people person.
Yes.
Because of my dyslexia, I like face to face.
Nice.
I can sell you me.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't look good on email because I can't spell for shit. Right? So you need to know, what the fuck is this idiot doing, right? And so therefore, if I'm in your face,
Yeah.
my smile will come on. And straight away, you'll think, he's got really nice teeth.
Yeah.
And then,
First thing.
Yeah.
Like, he's someone I can trust.
Yeah,
Good,
yeah,
I've got you. And so in an email, Shay just needs to get me in the room.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just want to be in the room.
Yeah. His
So-
perspective is always, and I know the
I can
guys said
change
this
their
earlier.
mindset if they see
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
That's where I am.
Or
Yeah.
like, I'm your solution. He
I'm
just
always
walks
your
into the
solution, yeah.
room. with I'm your solution.
I've got the answers to everything.
You need me.
That's what I am.
Yeah. Whereas I'm the polar opposite. I'm like, oh, thank you. I'm glad to be here. And
Not
and
me,
it's that,
mate.
but it's that mindset which I'm really intrigued by for yourself as an actor, because you've been in the industry for 5 decades, as you say.
Yeah.
But my question was this: do you enjoy that though? Is there a part of it that you enjoy that if it's a no, I'm going to go for this? Because like for someone like me, I'm like, oh, okay, fine. I'll just think of something else. But you're
there are
that
moments
persistent.
where I don't enjoy it.
Okay.
And then there are moments where I just go,
I'm going to get this.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
okay, so
That's a challenge now.
I'll tell you guys a story.
Go on.
I
Please.
just
I'm gonna move my mic away
told.
now.
No. I'm gonna tell you guys a story that I just told on radio here in America.
Okay.
So my audition for My Wife and Kids, they did not want to see me.
Wow.
I had heard everybody was going out for it. Now, at the time, and it was 2000, I believe, or 2001, they weren't hiring African Americans at all. As a matter of fact, my Caucasian counterparts would have auditions all week long, and I would get one maybe a month or every other month. So it was just that kind of situation at the time. And so this came along, and it was written for an African American woman. And it was like, oh my gosh, okay, let's
Everyone's
everybody's going in except for me. And so then I called my agent, and I was like, yo, what's going on? I hear people going on their second callback. I haven't gotten one. And he was like, yeah, no, you're a friend of the family. And I am. I'm a friend of the Wayans. Yeah. Like, I've known them for so long. They're brilliant, amazing people. Yeah. And so he was like, yeah, Damon said he knows you're a friend of the family, but he just doesn't see himself playing opposite of Gina. And I was like, oh, I get that. So then I called Tisha Arnold, right? Again, like I've said earlier, whenever we wouldn't hear about an audition, we tell the other one and make sure she's got plenty of stuff over me. Okay? And I was happy for it. You know what I'm saying? I was happy every time that she won, I won.
Yeah.
So anyway, I called her. I was like, yo, Tashina, do you have the script? And she was like, yeah, I got it. I'll send it to you. So she sends it to me. I read it. I was like, man, I could do this. So then I called Tashina again. I'll go, Tashina, when's your third callback? She was like, oh, it's this, and this. I'll send you the paper.
So cool.
All of the information.
This.
And I was like, cool, thanks, T.
This needs to be your show.
I know.
Right.
So I go, thanks, T. So I was getting dressed. I call my agent. I go, listen.
I
just want you to know.
I'm telling you. I don't need to tell you.
I'm tell you. I'm about to show up to this audition.
Yeah.
And he was like, what? You don't have an audition? I said, hey. I'm on my way, right? I said, I'm in the car now, so I'm driving. And he was like, you're going to ruin your career. I can't believe you're doing this.
Wow.
You're going to be blackballed. I was like, oh my God, you're so negative. So then I get to the Disney lot, right?
Yeah.
Y'all don't follow my lead. Do not to audition. This is a very bad thing to do. But I was out of body at this point. So I pull up and I see a brother and I see another. And I was like, I hope I get the brother because maybe he'll let me on the lot. Yeah. So as soon as I pull up, the brother goes on break. And I'm like this.
Come on, man.
So then the guy, I said, hi, my name is Tisha Campbell. I'm supposed to be here. I have an audition. He goes, yeah, I don't see your name. And I go, oh my God. Are you kidding me? My agent is doing this to me again. Oh my God. Can you just look under Tisha? Yeah. And he goes, well, you're not here, but there are a lot of people that look like you today. So you might as well just go on.
Oh, lovely.
Come on.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Very much. Right? As I'm pulling into the lot, my agent calls again. When you get in there, you need to hide. I was like, I'm not hiding. I'm a grown ass woman.
Exactly.
What are you talking about? And he was like, no, the producers found out you're coming. I told them, and they're pissed. They don't know how Damon's going to react, and you need to hide when you get in there. I said, first of all, I am not hiding. I'm a grown ass woman. He was like, well, I already got you on the lot. I said, I got myself on the lot. He was like, what? Right? He said, well, Tisha, I'm just here to tell you are going to ruin your career. I said, there you go with that negativity again.
Bye.
So negative. So then I get inside.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I go, well, everybody's all nervous because, again, this is the only job of the year. And I was like, well, I ain't got nothing to lose, but maybe I should hide. So I gathered myself I make a left to go into the other room.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I run smack dab into Damon.
Damon. Oh.
And he goes, he goes, hey.
What are you here for, Tisha?
Hey, Day. So I just start laughing and I just sit back down. I said, I see you inside. I was like, I don't know what I just did.
Yeah.
I probably pissed him off. I'm going to have so much fun when I get in there.
Yeah.
So the first lady goes in. She comes out. She's like, it's a cold-blooded room up in there.
Oh,
and I said, okay, it's cold-blooded. I pissed off the producers. Might have pissed off Damon too. I don't know.
Who's a family friend, by
said,
the way?
boy, I'm going to have so much fun when I get in there.
Yeah.
So I got in there. Damon and I are on the edge of our seats.
Yeah.
We're ad-libbing. We're going back and forth.
Nice.
And there's so much chemistry. It's just out of this world.
Yeah.
And then as I'm leaving, I go, thanks, guys. I appreciate the time.
Exactly.
So I leave. But as I'm gathering my stuff, I'm still in the waiting room. My agent calls. And he goes, oh, my God, what did you do? And at that point is when I realized I snuck in. And I was like, what did I do? Oh, God, what did I do?
Security coming for you right
So he goes, no, Damon wants you to come in for the network final auditions.
Wow.
He's really excited about you. And I was like, oh, that's great. But
That's so
again,
cool.
do not sneak into any auditions.
Yeah.
Don't say Tisha Campbell said anything.
Exactly.
But that's me in my own way, once again, not just taking the no.
But I want to know, because there's so many questions to ask you here. When finally you had those maybe 5 minutes with Damon, when it was like, yes, you are my wife. That's
You're
it
in the
for
room.
this show. This is happening. Did you not at any point say, how dare you not call me? Like, why did you? Did you call him up? Did you not later on and say, why did you? You never did. You were fine.
Why would I do that?
No, I'm just wondering.
He wrote it. It's based on his real life.
Right.
Yeah.
He has a vision of what
he
wanted.
thinks.
I would
Yeah.
never feel that way.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
You know, I understood, like, you know, I write as well and I produce as well. And so when you have a certain vision in your mind and somebody comes in and kind of
Knock you off
shades
your
it,
butt.
right, it just is what it is. Like you
love
said,
that.
just get me in the room.
Get me in the room, yeah.
And even if I don't get it, I'm going to win a fan in the room. And that's always my goal. It's never to get, when I used to audition, it was never to get the role. It was to win a fan in the room. So that even if it doesn't work out this time, it'll work out someday.
See,
Next
what you call a
time.
fan, we call champions.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
you need a champion.
Someone who's gonna champion you. Yeah.
So in the future, be like, dude, that wasn't good for you, but I got this going on.
Exactly.
That's
Thank
what you
God,
want,
can I just say thank God you gate crashed that audition?
Yeah, man.
Gate
Because I
crashed
can't
it.
see anyone else apart from you in My Wife and Kids. Like, I
And the other
literally
thing is,
cannot.
I don't think it would have got a couple of seasons.
No, it wouldn't have done as well as it did.
It's that
Damon
chemistry.
is that, but Damon
No, but
is
it was the
that
two.
amazing.
You know, he's amazing.
Yeah.
But he can only be amazing with the people he surrounds himself with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know what?
And he says that too.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
He's always
generous.
champion for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
And you know, I just had to, you know, show him and sometimes that happens because
Yeah.
they don't want to be, you know, other comedians, not Damon, but other comedians don't want to be compared to Damon or Martin.
Right.
So
Got you.
so instead of hiring me, somebody who could actually waltz with them,
Yeah.
sometimes they'll go against the grain.
Ruckus Avenue Radio.
So here's the thing: comedy is a big part of your career, right?
Yeah, it just so happens.
Yeah, it just so happens. And comedy is the hardest. I wish they gave awards
It's
at the
so
Academy. It's so
hard.
hard to get
Yeah.
the timing right, getting the rhythm right, and all of that. The joke might have to be done 3 times before it lands right. Is comedy your favorite form of entertainment, or is it theater, or is it film, or is it TV?
Okay.
Where do you fall on those
It's
categories?
very hard for me to choose because I
Because
get
you're successful in all of them.
no,
by the way.
Yeah.
I get a different high.
Oh, okay, I love
really?
this. Yeah,
I
yeah.
get a different high from it. So
Right.
as an artist in general, like I cook,
Yeah.
I paint,
Yeah.
and I get a different high from each. Right now, my extreme high is when I write. And so
Really?
I've always wanted to be a writer since I was a little girl, but my brothers took my poem book
How
to
dare
school,
they?
and
How
then
dare they?
people were
Yeah.
quoting my poems
Oh,
back
no
to
way.
me in the hallways. But you know, there was a time in my life where I just did as I was told.
Right, yeah.
Believe it or not, as strong as of a woman I am, there were a lot of people in my ear telling me what I couldn't do, and after a while of hearing it so
You start believing
much,
it.
you do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I get
And
that.
so I was told I shouldn't ever quit my day job because, you know, I was
been told
making
the same
money.
thing.
Yeah. This is how you make money for us. So now, being that I was in COVID and during COVID isolation, I did everything that I ever wanted to do in life.
Nice.
Wow.
Like, I tried everything. And
I love that about you because all I did was just put on weight. You know,
I did that
COVID
too.
was bad for me.
I had one too many COVID cupcakes.
Oh, honey, I had too many COVID cookies.
So I had COVID cupcakes, I had COVID stones. I was getting down in COVID. Okay? But the thing is that, you know, I've been poor before, right?
Yeah.
And I understood what it was like to go from zero again.
Yeah.
And start all over. And
That's what makes you dangerous, though.
Yeah.
Because you've been there.
Yes.
The people who haven't,
It's hard for them to make adjustments.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know this business or life. Life is a roller coaster. You got your ups, your downs. But when I'm down now, I know that there's always an up. I look at it as if it's like a toddler walking.
Yeah.
And when you watch a toddler first starting to learn how to walk, there's still an excitement in his eyes. He knows he's going to bust his butt, his damn pamper.
Yeah.
But he knows he's going to get back up again. And somewhere as adults, we lose that.
True.
Yeah,
True.
One of the things that, you know, when you talk about philosophy and
The
these
thrill,
kinds of-
yes.
one of the things that, you know, keep me and Shay going is this sort of like this phrase is like accept what's happening.
Yes.
As soon as you accept it, it can't harm you or hurt you anymore.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because you're right. I'm in a car accident. It happened. So let's deal with it.
And deal with it.
move on with it.
And that's letting yourself fall into your pamper.
Yeah. Let's just deal with it.
One that I learned from Sunny is this phrase, this too
the
shall
Buddhist
pass.
one, yeah.
This too shall pass. So if you're having a bad time, it's going to pass. But if you're having a good time, enjoy it because that too shall pass.
Yeah.
Look, we've had such an amazing
I could
time with
talk to
you.
you for hours.
But I have one final question for you,
Okay.
Tisha.
I wanted the
which
final
is-
question.
Okay, you are. He's
No, I'm
the
just
fan.
joking. No,
Two more.
I'm joking.
But because we've gone through the whole span of 5 decades, there's so much I feel more to come with Tisha Campbell. It's like, you know,
This is just the beginning.
book is unfinished,
Thank you.
really. What is the one thing you would say to your younger self now, looking back, having just been through what you just discussed, and you know the fact that you were such a risk taker, a gate crasher who literally gate crashes everything and then makes it her
And
own
a
in the best
provider as
way.
well.
Yes.
Yeah, but what would you, if you could, if Tisha could go back to 18-year-old Tisha, starting out, and you also see how this entertainment business is now, what would Tisha say?
The first thing I would say is you're so much more intelligent than you think you are.
Right.
You're so smart. And that's number one. You don't have to play yourself down
Right.
to accommodate other people.
Okay.
And I think that's number one. And the other thing I would tell me is to learn about the business side of the business.
Okay.
Don't wait. I came from having a momager straight into a husband's home.
Okay.
Right.
So everybody took care of my finances. And
Got you.
I am learning and I'm enjoying learning about all these numbers and sad. This sounds crazy. Taxes.
Yeah.
Taxes, wills, insurance, all of the
Yeah.
things that you need to sustain a legacy
Yeah.
for your children. I am
So
having
you
the
haven't
best time.
just working out how to keep
Starting
your money.
over.
Yeah, to keep your money, like Bill Gates.
Well,
And everyone
yes,
else,
yes,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
really more about,
Uh.
just learn the business aspect of it because some of the things that I went through, I didn't have to.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
I
I
get what
understand
you
that.
say. I
It's so
understand.
interesting, isn't it? Because usually when we in the UK, they talk about this a lot. And this comes more down to, often you talk about, we were discussing earlier, being people of color, but in it's also about social class.
Yes.
So you can be working class and
Yes.
white, working class and black, working class and South Asian in the UK, and I suspect here, and have a very similar shared experience.
Yeah.
And what they talk a lot about in the UK is actually, that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Rich Dad,
Yes,
Poor Dad.
I love that book.
Brilliant book. Yeah,
But
yeah.
actually what those upper echelons are teaching their children,
Yeah.
we're not teaching our
No,
children.
we don't. It's
and
not
we
a
need
part of
to
our
be.
culture.
That's it. You nailed it.
They've actually taken that away from us.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
the education
Oh my
departments.
gosh! Yes, I was just saying that economics is not taught at all.
Right.
At
There you
all.
go.
Yeah, especially if you're not privately educated.
Right.
That's all they teach you.
That's
in
all
private
they
education.
That's all they put.
Not in,
Yeah.
they don't
And
teach
this
it.
is and someone like Will I Am is someone who's actually taken that to like
Yes.
learn about computers, learn about this,
Yes.
learn about where your taxes go, how much you
Yes.
make.
Yes.
So empower yourself.
Yes.
It's not about the vote; it's about the empowerment of what you understand
Yeah.
the vote is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with that, I could talk to you for hours. So quickly, what's coming up next?
Yeah,
what
what
you're
can we
working
look
on,
forward to?
and
Oh my gosh.
when can I
Yeah.
audition for you for your next job? No, just tell me when you turn up.
I was waiting for him to say that.
So
Go
I
ahead.
have two companies. One is called You Go Girl Productions.
I can do that one.
Nice.
Yes, and
You
then
go, girl.
Go.
Turnpike Alliance, and both these companies are trying to just change the just how do I put it? It's so important for me coming from my company that I do diverse stories.
Love it.
That same feeling that you had watching House
House
Party.
Party, yeah.
We want people of color to be seen in every different facet.
Nice.
And so those are the things that I have been, and my partner, she's out there,
Yeah.
Danny Wright, who is the head of development of my company, that we've been doing along with Andrew Jameson, who is my producing partner. We're very aggressive and we want to see people win and we want to create content that matters, that's
love it.
entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It teaches very slightly, but you know what I'm saying? But not slightly, subtly.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's definitely entertaining
I
and
love that.
fun. So I've been writing a lot of thrillers.
Okay.
Nice.
Believe it or not, like
Nice.
people go, "How many comedies do you have?"
They wouldn't have thought of that. Yeah,
No,
comedy.
I'm so full of thrillers and
Yeah.
drama,
I love it.
literally. But I just started writing comedies now. So
Okay.
So here's the thing.
Watch
Me
this
and Shay,
space.
we started because when we came out of our show that we did, and
Yeah.
I said to Shay, look, we've got BBC. We need to let people know no one's going to give us a job because we haven't got anything tried and tested.
Yeah.
Let's start a YouTube channel.
That's
and
what
just
you
do
do.
little
Yeah.
sketches, right? So hold on one second. Where is it? Here we go. Right.
Oh, he wants it. You're going to show.
I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you.
Oh, cool.
So this is us, right?
Okay.
And it's called As We Proceed in our relationship together, right?
Yeah.
So this is what we did. Like how many years now? 8 years ago.
Yeah.
We got picked up by the BBC and Radio WM.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we,
yeah.
and we
True.
and we couldn't come back to this channel for that reason.
Because
But
the
we
BBC
wanted-
took us
they
on
took
more.
us on board, and we couldn't.
Yeah.
And we at that time we tried. So have a look at this when you're at your leisure.
I will, I
so
will.
this is influenced by you and your work
Me?
because it is about couples and little sketches and your nuances
Oh,
where
funny.
only a couple and sort of like go through.
Yeah.
The first one we started off with, because this is a real thing, is us in bed and Shay just bored.
Yeah.
And then and so basically when she has to leave the bed for a reason, and you might be
Yeah.
able to relate to that.
Yeah,
yeah.
And
yeah.
then I'm gonna leave it to you, and you can give us
Okay,
some
okay,
feedback.
I'm gonna look at it.
And on the basis of that, you can say, "Yeah, I'll call them back for something."
Yeah.
Maybe.
I love how this podcast has turned into your audition session.
This would be so.
Only you.
Listen, that's
She's a hustler.
Did you just tell? Did he just say? All I need is to get you
In
in
the
the
room.
He just sold both of y'all.
Yeah.
And that's
told
what
you,
it's
I
about.
told you.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
There you go.
Tisha, it's been such a pleasure having
so
you with
much.
us. Congratulations on the show, Uncoupled, Martin the Reunion. People can go to your social media, Tisha Campbell for more, and check out Tisha and all of her work. Hopefully when we're back in LA, or if you're in London, we'd love to get you in the
yes, I would
studio
love
there
that.
Or
in
we
the
might be coming to your
BBC.
premiere of your new thriller, which I can't wait for. Yeah.
Yes.
I love
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Unfiltered with Sunny and Shay. Thank you to Tisha.
Bye, 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 bye.